So I hope some of you are able to solve the problem. So for those who are not able to, let me try to solve the problem. So this is our circuit diagram, and this is what actually things happen in this code. Here we have the red color, here we have green, here we have blue, and based on their different brightnesses we have these different colors, and also more combinations are also possible. So but now we have these combinations, and now let's build the code. So as I have told you in previous video, we will learn a new thing in every video. So what we are going to learn in this video is the producing random values. What I mean to say is that the program will produce random values by itself, not our predefined values. So for that we will use a function that is known as random and random seed. So as I have told you that you have to read all of these functions, so whenever they are required you will be able to use them. So in this case we require random and random seed. In the previous program we have used millis, that is shown here. So but for now let we use random and random seed. So what they do is, as I told you, they just produce random values. So first let we make a clear brief sketch in our mind that what should we have to do to solve this problem. So for this problem we require three different variables for these three LEDs and some specific values. The values that are specified by us are random by the programming. It means that they are specified random values that the program will produce, and we should have to give the random values to these different LEDs at different time. So actually we require three variables for this, and then three variables for different brightnesses and three for other different brightnesses. So this is the main sketch that what we need to do in this video. So let me move to code, and step by step you will understand more. So now let me make this a little larger because the code is going to be a little large. So first of all we will take two arrays, that is float RGB1 and with a length 3 because we have three LEDs, and then again another variable RGB with a variable length of 3 and RGB2. So what does these variables are and what does they do? So these variables are for different brightnesses. This is for beginning from 0 brightness, and this one is for brightness from 255. I think you understand what I want to say is that I require one for low brightness and one for high brightness. And after that we have another variable that we name INC, that is also an array, use of which will be explained in the video after some steps. So now we have int, and now we have to define three variables, that is red, green and blue, that are required to save the random values producing these variables by the function random function. So now again, as I have told you, we use different concepts from previous concept. So now we will define all these variables in a single declaration. This is also a thing I want to show you, that you can define any number of variables in a single statement like I have defined here. And then we have red pin for red LED, that is 11, and now we have green pin. So to differentiate them, that we also capitalize red, and here we have green pin, that is equal to 10 here, and what left is the blue pin, and which is equal to 9. As you have seen in the circuit diagram, we have this red on pin number 11 here, and this green on pin number 10 here, and this blue on pin number 9 here. So we have defined according to the circuit diagram. And after that let me move to void setup, and this is all about the declaring variables, and it's completed now. And now in word setup we define the random as capital and seed, because it is declared in this, and with analog read 0. It has to read data from analog pin 0, but there is nothing data on that. And let me define serial begin for the monitor. Let me make it a little simpler. So here we have the serial dot begin and initialize at 9600, that is our baud rate. And now we have RGB. First of all we have RGB1 and the first value of the figure, that is with the index 0, and we initialize it with 0, as I have told you that we require one for low brightness and one for high brightness. So we have all the three values of this array, that is 0, 1 and 2 indexing at 0. I think now you are understanding that what I am doing here. And now second one is for high values. Again I have told you, and the maximum value you know is 256. So high values means that the values greater than 0 in between 256. So random 256, that it means that it's the limit of the maximum brightness, that is from up to 256 from 0. So this is the maximum, or you can say for high brightnesses. And now we have all the three values of this array at random 256. So these are initialized here, and it depends on how many LEDs you are using. If the LEDs are more, then you have more array. Now this is done for void setup. I think you understand now. And then we move to void loop. So again you can build the code by using functions, but the code is already lengthy, so we just use the single void loop, that is the predefined one. So first of all we have random seed and analog read 0, as we have initialized. And then we require a for variable. Here I have the color is not changed, and the error is spelling error. I have written E here instead of A, so focus on these errors. And then we have int x equal to 0. And how many LEDs we have? 3, so we use less than 3, as 0 is again counted here. Then with the increment of 1, and then we use our I and C variable, and with x. So this variable is just we have used for a random value, that is RGB1 and x here minus their difference value RGB2, and with the same index, and taking the average, so divided by 256. So this is our INC variable here, but there is something to focus about here, and the thing is use this parentheses before this division sign, because if you use these parentheses here, then due to associative property, which means that on which order the arithmetic operator will follow, which means that if you do not use parentheses here or use the parentheses here, then instead of subtracting this from this, the program will first divide RGB X by 256 and then subtract it from RGB, as the associative of operators is that the division and multiplication is first priority, and after that we have the sum and the difference priorities. So use the parentheses before it, and then at last we have statement terminator. So this is the for loop here, and now let me move out of the for loop. This is simple enough just for calculating the INC value. And now we have another for loop in which we again define a variable int x is equal to 0, and now we do not have to declare for LEDs, but instead we require it for brightnesses. So we have 256 here and x plus plus, and here we are not using plus 5 as we have used in the concept of fade, because we require random values that are from 0 to 256, not the multiples of 5. And now we have the red variable that we have declared in the starting of the code, and I have told you that this is for just storing the values. So I have int, and we have the RGB values, so for this parentheses, and here we have RGB1 and with index 0. So this is the first red, and then we have green and int, and then again we have RGB1 with indexing 1, and then at last we have blue with int and RGB2. So this is the variables that we have initialized in the beginning, and now the video is getting a little larger, so we will write the further code in next video so that it will not be boring for you. So see you in the next video, and we will continue our code from here. After this, there is just simple steps in which we have to provide the analog value to the pins, and the analog values are these values. I think you can also try these by yourself, and after that, by taking delay, we write this value instead of using this red, blue, green, by using INC values, that is the difference values, and then same with RGB2. So see you in the next video.